Hi, my name is Ash Kapoor. I'm the medical director of Levitas. I'm very privileged to have Elite Nutrients here with us today,
Likewise, thank you for
and
having me.
it's something that I've been looking at for the last couple of years. A lot of my patients are sort of asking, "Is there something that has everything in it?" And rather than take baskets of different multivitamins, nutrients, minerals, etc. And I think we came across you a couple of years ago in a conference, and
Did, yeah, an anti-aging. Yeah.
anti-aging conference, and there was a fantastic book written about how I can't remember the doctor's name.
Dr. Joe Wallock, yeah.
Yes, he put it all together, and I thought, what a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And when I looked through the list, when I saw the minerals, the vitamins, the cordyceps, literally everything all in one go, and I thought, that's amazing. That's exactly what everyone's looking for. So today really is about finding out, well, introduce yourself first of all.
Yeah, so my name's Jonathan Smith. So I'm the company owner of Elite Nutrients. I've been lucky enough in the last, I'd say, probably 10 years as we've been doing it to work alongside forward-thinking doctors, health practitioners, etc., etc. I think we came across Dr. Wallock's stuff when I sort of started reading about epigenetics. He's got a lot of work around that, and looking at his thesis on the 90 essential nutrients, and that was what the whole thing was around. I think he was first and foremost, he was a vet, then he was a pathologist, and then a naturopathic doctor, did some huge zoological projects. He's got books in the Smithsonian Institute that they still refer to today. But his findings were that, yeah, to optimize your health was to get all 90 essential nutrients, and that included 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 or 3 essential fatty acids. So that was really sort of the starting point that we'd found. And so, our powder was based around that.
Yes.
And that was where we started from,
And
really.
that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, this was 10 years ago. And I think the understanding of realizing from him again that the topsoils are, I know it's no new news, but obviously the topsoils are now, only fertilized with NPK, which is nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. Great for the plant yield. They look great in the supermarket,
Yes.
but of course they're lacking in all these micronutrients that
Yes.
people lack on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So that was my goal, was to set about, putting together a powder that covered all of those needs on a daily basis.
Fantastic.
And this is where we sort of come through with it.
So this is the thing. I mean, our food looks nice. It looks great. It's abundant. It's everywhere, 365 days a year. But actually the nutritional content isn't. And I think we're seeing so many more issues with inflammatory conditions, autoimmunity, brain dysfunction, neurodiversity. In your opinion, how much of this is due to not being adequately fed, shall we say?
Yeah, and I think it's those nutritional deficiencies that I think, from studies of not just Dr. Wallock's work, but there's many out there, like yourself included, that can see that this is, there's a huge breakdown, with the lack of nutrients that we've got. And there are so many things that can be accounted to nutritional deficiencies. And I've seen over the years with people where one nutrient can actually have a cascade effect for 2 or 3 different things that are going on.
Yes.
So whereas in allopathic medicine, you might get a pill for your eye, pill for your nose, pill for your leg, etc., you might just be lacking calcium, and lo and behold, you were trying to treat something. I've seen this before. 2 or 3 other things will clear up,
Yes.
as if by magic and seemingly unrelated. But we've sort of been a bit indoctrinated to believe that these are all separate entities, and often they're actually very closely connected and can just be one, particular nutrient that's missing in a large supply.
Yes. Well, certainly that's our belief, in the sense that we're all so interconnected.
Right.
And we come from nutrition. We've been in the savannas and the deserts for millions of years where there was no prescriptions. So our bodies have adjusted around that side of things. And looking at epigenetics, i.e. the environment around your DNA, and all the research that's been done saying that you can modify things by making that environment good. And it comes to 2 things: protecting it and feeding it.
Right.
So if there are 90 essential things that can be put together in one place, it's very convenient and very easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things over the years, often, because I've had quite a big hand in the manufacturing side of things and getting things right. I've had opportunities, like I said, to not just work with, forward-thinking doctors, but listening on the other side to customer feedback as well a lot. And I've had my ear to the ground and knowing, what works. And I think, often people will say, well, what makes a good supplement? And there's three things for me that I've learned through the years and listening to doctors. But the first would be to get the supplement to mimic nature.
Yes.
So that although it seems extraordinary that it's got 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, amino acids, etc., well, if you're eating a plant, well, that's exactly what you're going to have in the plant juice when it comes through. And so it seems, counterproductive to just be supplementing with a vitamin C or a D, etc. Although there are cases when they are needed, don't get me wrong. On a daily basis, you don't get single nutrient foods.
Good point.
If you don't get single nutrient foods, then you want to supplement in a way that nature would be presenting it to you.
Yeah.
And I think when the powder's mixed with water, it goes then into a colloidal state, which makes it even easier then to be able to digest and absorb.
So it's the equivalent of whole food, really.
Yeah, in that way. Yeah. So that would be the first sort of side of it for me in terms of it mimicking nature. The second would be having NRV amounts or RDA amounts that are much higher than I think people have been sort of used to. Certainly on the vitamin side of things, you'll see, if people get a chance to have a look at, the nutritional fact panel, that we are way higher than not just the 100%, but pretty much most other brands out there. And I think it's down to the fact that you can't. You can only absorb so much from what you're taking. So unless it's high enough, the body's just not absorbing enough of it. I think we used to say you are what you eat. I'd say it's more that you are what you absorb now, and as a different perspective as things have moved on.
No, and I think that's a really important point, that recommended daily values are based on a functional gut. But none of our guts are functional anymore.
Absolutely.
Because of the gut-brain axis, and we do lead sympathetically driven lives. We're in fight or flight a lot of the time, even though we don't know it. And the gut-brain axis, they talk to each other, and the gut can get inflamed. So by definition, RDAs don't sort of qualify, because what they've seen in labs and what really happens in humans are not quite the same thing anymore.
No.
So we do need to overcompensate for that lack of absorption.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with some of the methylated, forms of the B vitamins and the amounts, I think it does make a huge difference in the way. And people will often say, "Oh, actually, when I've taken it, I really do feel a difference." As opposed to what I hear with people a lot is they're just sort of, I say, supplementing for the sake of it. They're taking it. There's not much happening. They don't feel a great deal. Well, it's probably because there isn't much going on. In that way. And then I think the third thing that that I look at is the concentration and the purity of the mineral source that's in there, because it's not just about getting the essential minerals that we know about that are in the annex, but there's this whole host of ultra trace elements. So that's why we use a fulvic based mineral in there, or fulvic acid it's also known as. And I think we had a conversation before about Shilajit. Shilajit's become popular in recent years, and the reason being is because of its fulvic, its elixir is that fulvic acid in there. So it's that millennia-old compound, of minerals that have built up that we can actually use as pure food. So this is why we've actually added that. So we've got Shilajit in there.
Amazing.
But the only problem with Shilajit is that it's often got a very low amount, and maybe only 20-30%, unless you're taking the pure resin. And with ours, what we've done is we've fortified the Shilajit powder in there, so it's at 90% as a powder in there.
Wow.
So we've lab tested up to 69 different minerals and ultra trace elements that would have been present again in the soils, before a lot of the agri-farming, methods come in. And so those three things, I think, of, mimicking nature, high enough RDAs, purity and concentration of mineral source, and it being from that fulvic source, really, that's to me what makes a great supplement, and what we've seen the difference.
So 90 essential things in there.
Correct, yeah.
And what else on top?
So on top, you've got a high antioxidant fruit, veg, and mushroom blend. I know you were talking about some of the mushrooms. There's the adaptogens in there as well. There's a 6-strain pre and probiotic in there as well for gut health. There's also a 5-strain digestive enzymes in there too, so it really helps. Again, that it's that absorption aspect of it we were talking about.
I also know there's a bit of fibre in there too.
Yeah, there is from the inulin, and obviously, you know, some of the powder from the whole foods, the whole foods that are in there too. Yeah.
So, is this an all-in-one, or are there things that you couldn't put in due to interactions?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good point. So in there, we don't put the omega. We touched on the omega 3, 6, and 9.
Yes.
We think and believe it's much better in an oil carrier, and so we have that as a separate product called Ultimate Omegas 3, 6, and 9, which we put together as what we call a sort of basic 90 pack, as it would be. I mean, if you're counting up nuances, there's more than that now, as we've lab tested more with spectrometry in order to be able to show you know all of the ultra trace minerals in there. So you can see that some of the numbers have adjusted since Dr. Wallock's original work, but it still stands as under the same thesis, though.
So with this plus the blended 369, you've got
a complete package. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a daily. It's not to say that, you know, if there are, you know, particular minerals or things that are, you know, you're desperately missing and that you may need to top up on as an immediate source with magnesium or calcium, whatever it is. But again, I think you do need those cofactors. You know, one relies on the next, relies on the next. You know, strontium relies on, and a lot of vitamins are not very good without their cofactor.
No, totally.
And I think that's often missed, that people think that, well, I'm just going to take a load of this. Well, yeah, but you're actually putting a strain on something else by not balancing it with everything.
Well, we certainly know about the zinc and copper relationship, ratios, etc. And I think it's a very valid point that nutrition from nature doesn't come in silos; it comes in one. So that's a very, very valid point. Just a little bit about the blended oils, 369. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's having the right ratios of the oils, you know, that are in there. I know that the omegas can be out of whack, you know, in our diet. We also have them cold pressed, so they're packed in in nitrogen atmospheric chambers, so that they don't oxidize then and that's another big problem that you have is the oxidation within the oils. So that's a really important point as well. And there is a lot of obviously essential fatty acids out there, but again, it's not a greatly, you know, regulated industry.
No, and they can go rancid.
They do. So you're taking in a lot of free radicals, which is, you know, the opposite of what you want.
Yes, and certainly I know that there can be lung-related issues and various other things if you don't get that right. So, excellent. Well, it's a great product, and the one you've got in the UK is berry flavour. Is that right?
So this is the current one that we've got. Yeah, and like I said, obviously this is something that you'll have in your store that people can reach out to and find out more about, and if there's samples that people want to try, you know, I'm quite happy in the promotion as we're launching the new flavour to get that out there.
So tell me about the new flavour.
Yeah, so I think what where the product came over from the US, obviously, you know, the doctors from the US, I think it was a sweeter palate in that flavour. And I think with the flavour that we've got now with the berry flavour, it's a more European flavour. It's not as sweet. And I think people, you know, they're concerned about sugar, etc. It doesn't spike your insulin. You know, it's stevia based in nature and natural flavours. So there's no and that would, I mean, you know, you've had it as well. I mean, which flavour did you prefer when you?
I prefer the berry.
Okay. So again, you mentioned about the other one being more on the sweeter side. So I think it's been optimised. I think so that you can take it on a daily basis. It is a daily supplement. Going back to the fact that we know that even Michael Gove, our then agricultural minister 6 years ago, put that big article in The Guardian saying 40 years our topsoils are going to be basically dust. That was 6 years ago. I mean, and I know we were referring to this earlier.
Yes.
And, you know, the last time that they've done testing in the soils was 1940.
Goodness.
You know, and magnesium, calcium, you know, it's up to sort of 40%, you know, less than there was, you know, over a sort of 80-year period. Well, I mean, if that was 1940,
where are we now?
You know, 80 plus years on, and there's no testing been done beyond. So it does, I don't think there's any choice now. And, people are coming around to that idea that, you know, if you're not getting it from your food, well, it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, and I think this is the key thing. You know, food is no longer the nutrition it used to be.
Right.
And again, that's looking at data from the 40s.
Mm.
So supplementation is now part and parcel, I think, of well-being.
Yeah.
So it's great to have something all together. I think that's convenient, and I'm grateful for you coming today.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to help.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll leave some stuff at your clinics that people are welcome to try.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Good.
again. Thank you for having me.